Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. I am here at the Apocalypse Cabin, and it's kind of a dark and stormy night. So, how appropriate that for tonight we are going to begin our journey on the dark side. We first talked about the strange phenomenon of shadow people. Some time ago, and I am fascinated with how this phenomenon crosses cultural, religious, and boundaries. People all over the world have seen these entities, which makes the story more fascinating to me. This isn't an American phenomenon or a European phenomenon or an African phenomenon. It is a worldwide phenomenon. So, yeah, and really an interesting phenomenon that I wanted to explore more fully. So I asked in my audience if anyone had experiences with these mysterious shadow people. And interestingly enough, several people have. So I've invited them on the show tonight, where we are going to begin our journey on the dark side. Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back to Truthseekers. Tonight, we're going on the dark side. Welcome. So, we have two of our guests here, and I'm going to bring them in. One moment, friends. Please bear with me here as I work this machinery to make this thing work. First, we have Jonaside.
That's me.
Show. How you doing, Jonaside?
Doing good.
Apparently, you've had some creepy experiences with these shadow people.
Yeah, I've had a couple experiences. One that I really remember.
And we've also got BG's here.
And
another name show. Hi, BG's. Good to see you.
What's up, B?
Hey, John.
So who wants to go first with their story of the mysterious shadow people? Jonaside has sort of touched on this on a previous panel show.
Yeah, so B can go first. I don't mind. Or I can hand it over to Renee. She's here.
Ladies first. Yeah, did you want me to send a separate invitation to Renee, or?
I think we'll just share the phone.
Okay, so that'll make it easy. Good. Oh, well, ladies first.
All right. Well,
why don't you tell us about your experience?
I've been thinking about this all week, and I was trying to think, when was the first time that I really had some type of an encounter with like a shadow thing? And, you know, people talk about being like having paralysis and stuff like that. But for me, I think something similar to what Renee had said last week was that she was walking and she had an incident. Well, I reckon I was about 5 years old, and I had like this thing with like a little like elf looking thing, which was all black. And it sat with me for as long as I can remember, because it was like a weird interaction. Like I was talking to the thing, and I can't remember what was being said because I was five or six at the time. But that's one of the first times I remember having like a weird interaction. So I've always had like weird things happening to me in my life, and very attuned to. I've had stuff move in my house, and all weird kind of things. But when I got older, I always had to sleep with my bedroom door shut because I would always see like the typical trench coat type with a trilby kind of hat, like hat man, I guess, like
Hatman.
constantly staring into my bedroom, like from, I don't
Well,
know,
that's not
7,
creepy
8,
at all.
9.
And so
Not
this started
creep,
from an
yeah,
early age and has
very
continued
early.
and your whole
My
life you've
whole
seen
life.
these things.
Yeah, my whole life. Like, it got really intense when I moved into my new house, which was like 25 years ago. Um, I used to like shut the door just a little bit, and my partner would be like, "Just leave it open." I was like, "Oh no, I just want to have it shut just a little bit." And I never he kind of never believed in any of that kind of stuff. So, but it was almost like even if that little crack in the door, I could see he was still looking at me, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't. It's an ominous kind of feeling. I never had the paralysis, so like that's the thing. Like I could just always see it, and
Yeah, it's funny too, is like I think that the dark can play tricks on your mind because I don't know
yeah,
that I've ever seen anything that I thought was an entity, but my wife is crazy and has blackout curtains and the whole room has to be like black
yeah,
for her to sleep. And trying to sleep in there, like, you just wake up and you like lose all sense of depth perception. Like you don't know how far away the wall is or
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, because it's that dark. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. She
So
likes it. I call her Vampira. God forbid there be any light in the room. She can't sleep. And I guess that's her deal though. So,
well, I find nowadays I have to I have Himalayan salt lamps on, so they're like my night lights. So I have one in
oh
my
yeah, they
bedroom
sort of glow in
and
the night. Yeah, those are
yeah,
cool.
one in my hallway because um there was a really it got intensified. My mum passed away in 2015, and the dark was just not acceptable for me. Like I was worried about, I just couldn't walk down the hallway to go to my bathroom. Like it was just it was just something I just couldn't deal with. And so what I've focused on more so getting older is that I need like I have to play like podcasts at night and listening to something all night to actually not help me focus on what's happening like at the door, because I try not to look at the door. um yeah, but it's just a weird thing that's happened with me my whole life. Like and I need the light on so I'm not focusing on that, like so I can't see a shadow as such, if that makes sense. So yeah.
So what has your latest experience been like? And have you gotten a sense of like what these things want or what their intentions are or if they're evil or benevolent or
it
indifferent?
it doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good. It feels ominous. Like it just feels like there's something dark watching over you, and what it is I don't know. Like, so I've my partner passed away 2.5 years ago, and
Yeah,
being
listen,
on my own.
I heard you tweet about that and I just wanted to offer you my condolences and tell you that if you need anybody to talk to, I had a friend of mine who's best well really he was my best friend and his wife passed away very suddenly and I
Yeah,
know like how that can just be a terrible burden to bear by
yeah,
yourself. So feel
yeah, and
free,
that's,
if you need to
thank
talk
you.
or somebody to
Yeah,
listen,
thank
we're
you.
we're here for you. I'm
Oh,
so
I was
sorry
having a
for your
bad
loss.
day
I can't
yesterday.
imagine. I would be a complete and total mess without my wife, right?
Yeah.
Nothing would get done. The house would look like a frat party. The kids would be naked and dirty and hungry. I bet you, right? Look, my wife wanted me to do this stay-at-home thing, and I tried my best, but I'm a man, and I don't think men are made for this daddy daycare stuff. You know,
Yeah,
I'm doing my
but it's
best. I'm
it's weird. Like I think like with my partner not being here, you don't have that security. Like, because if I would see the person, because it's an entity, and it's a male entity, it's not female. Like it's
Yeah,
definitely a
and I was
male
going to ask
energy.
too.
It's
Did
like a
did you get the
male
sense?
energy.
Do you get the sense that it's the same entity over and over again,
Yes,
or
it's the
different
same.
ones?
It's the
The
same.
same one.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it makes me think, oh my God, what have I done in a past life if this guy's just following me? Like, because it's been since I was young. Like as a kid, I used to have my bedroom door shut, and I would still feel like he was outside the door. Like it
Just
was a
waiting.
horrible,
Wow.
horrible like sensation. So you just wouldn't get up and do anything until the light came. Like it was morning. So
And
it's a
some people
really
that experience these entities have talked about having nightmares about them as well. Have you had nightmares about this these experiences, or is
more
this
so.
always conscious experience?
It's a conscious experience now that I'm older, but definitely when I was younger, I used to, yeah, there used to be weird sort of dreams and things about it. Um, and it's just an odd thing. Like I can't explain it. I know that I'm not imagining, and I'm not. I'm not mentally ill. Like I
You
definitely
seem pretty lucid and
do you know what I mean?
and
Like I
together to
see,
me.
I see the I see the outline, I see but for me it's not just the shadow person, it's the shadow person with a hat for some reason for me. And
Yeah, and this is commonly called the Hat Man, right?
yeah, and like there are times where it's almost like you try not to move, so you think that they think you're asleep, like, but you're totally awake and you're just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's back. It's not all the time, but yeah, like since my partner's been gone, that's where my whole nightlight things come into it, where I've kept my Himalayan salt lamps on, and I have to leave my door open because I've got a dog and he sleeps inside with me, like, so he'll go in and out and do his thing. And but yeah, like I don't fancy the dark, and it's a really odd thing being 43 and being sort of afraid of the dark. So but that's me, that's sort
Yeah.
of my
Yeah,
story.
I don't blame you though. Everybody's got their quirks. Like, I'm not afraid of the dark, but I'm afraid of silence.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
no,
I
me too,
can't
me
sleep to
too.
silence, and my
I
wife
can't
sleeps to
either.
silence. So we have separate rooms. We have separate
Yeah,
bedrooms because
yeah,
I have to have talk radio or I have to have something on. I
me
guess I'm
too.
afraid to get lost in my own thoughts.
Yeah, that
And if I just have
that's
something to
yeah.
focus on, yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I'm like that myself, but I wonder if that's just as a result of me trying to not focus on that entity that's there. I mean, like I've like gone out there and I've got the sage sticks and I've smudged my house, gone to every
Yeah, I
corner
was going
and
to ask you because
asked them to
I
leave
grew
and
up.
leave me alone, and
Yeah, I
you
was going
know,
to ask you because I grew up Catholic, and in the Catholic, what a Catholic would do is call a priest in to bless the house and try to
yeah.
get rid of it. Have you considered doing anything like that, or have you tried to do anything to
Um,
sort of
well, I'm not a religious.
exorcise it from your surroundings?
I'm not a religious person, but I would consider myself to be intuitive as far as I feel things. So, like I said, I've had stuff move in my house, and I've had like CDs fly off of counter at me. I've had um, manifestations of smoke um, uh, like appear in front of me, and when
Wow.
I've been thinking about, someone that's just passed away. And like I've come home and like I'm pretty sure my other half's turned my paintings upside down on the walls, and it's like physically impossible to do unless
Jeez.
yeah, I've had some weird stuff. So like, people might think that's crazy, but I can only speak to my experience. And yeah, so that's why I have smudged the house a couple of times. And
Yeah, I hear
um,
sage helps. I don't know if it
yeah,
does.
yeah. Well, it's the intent as well, and you go in like just asking and saying, what you'd like, and please, I'd like you to leave, and that type of thing. But um, for me, the only thing that seems to help is just to not have a shadow, a creation of having the darkness. If that sense, the light helps, I guess. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and Genocide has had similar, but but unique and different experiences. What was it with you, Jonas? You had a house that you believed that was somewhat haunted or
Yeah,
something like that, right?
but the shadow people. I had a house I lived in that was 3 stories, and I still remember like you'd always, whenever we were watching TV, we'd see someone come down the stairs or someone run up the stairs, and it was a shadow. And I would be with my roommates, and we'd all see it. There'd be 3 or 4 of us, and we'd see these things happen over and over again. I never got a feeling of dread from them. I have had the night hag, the sleep paralysis, where something feels like it's draining your energy. And one of the things I could suggest you to do, BGs, if you ever encounter this again, and it sounds weird, but laugh at it. Laugh.
Really? You
Yes,
get, I get
because
yeah.
what my understanding is, and I'm not an expert, is they feed off fear, they feed
Yeah,
off the and all the negative emotions. And if you see it and laugh, and you say you're not religious, and that's fine. But you could also get a talisman of anything that you want to use as a talisman. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be
yeah,
anything from, it could be a cross, it could be a pentagram, it could be
yeah,
anything that you want to use. And keep that near you. And if you get scared, grab that. And
yeah.
then remember to laugh. Because when
Yes.
you laugh at these things, they lose their power over you.
Yeah, and it's like I said, like it's been since as long as I can, like, my earliest childhood memories, 5 to 6, and I remember, like, my dad, I was down out the back and it happened outside, and my dad was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, and then the thing disappeared, and I was like, I felt like I must have been intuitively talking to this thing, and I don't remember what it was saying, but I was engrossed with it. Like, I was just like, I was totally engaged, like totally. And my dad's like, "What are you doing, Brooke?" And I was just like, "Oh, come get inside." And I was like, and I went inside, and I was just like, it's always stuck with me. That one I don't forget. Like, that was like my first real experience. But it's funny, like, my whole family's had some weird things happen to them. Like, when my nana died, I was about 7, and we were all sitting around a table, and like we were eating dinner after the funeral, and um, my grandpa's fork just bent half over, like it just bent. And it was just like, oh my God. Like, weird things like that. Like, clocks started chiming that hadn't worked for 30 years, and we couldn't, they had to like bust it to stop it from chiming. Like, it's
Jesus.
some really weird, like, so I don't know if it's like related to the family in some sense, or there's something there, but like, I think, yeah, there's some weird stuff going on, that's for sure.
And I was going to ask both of you this. Did either of you attempt to communicate with this thing? And if so, what was that like? And
Well,
any
I
attempt at
did
communication with it? Like,
with the shadow
because
people.
when you ask it, like, what are you doing here? What do you want? Right? I would. Like, what are you
With
doing
the
in my
shadow
room,
people at the
bro?
house, I never thought to communicate. I got the feeling they were just traveling through the house, going somewhere, coming from somewhere. We were by a cemetery. I just thought it was just maybe a vortex or something. I just never got a negative feeling. Another house I lived at on the same street but further down, I had the sleep paralysis and what people call the night hag experience, where I wake up and I can't move and I feel something on my chest. Um, I couldn't, I wasn't able to, I didn't think to communicate. I was scared the first time it happened, mad the second, and I got rid of the third time. I got rid of it. And I thought to myself, well, how can I get rid of this thing? And I was praying on it. And then the answer came to me in my mind. I started thinking about, just imagine a sword and place that next to you, like in the astral plane or something. So the third night, and it was in a row, it came at me, and it was early in the morning. I can't move. I'm asleep, or I was just waking up from being asleep, and I feeling this pressure on my chest. And then I was always, after this happened, I'd always be really tired. And I just thought in my head, wait, I placed a sword right there. And in my head, in my mind, I pictured myself grabbing a sword and slashing through it. And when I did that, it disappeared and it never came back. The funny thing is, the next day, that morning, I was talking to my roommate and I asked him, hey, have you ever had sleep paralysis? And he goes, yeah, I've been having it a lot lately. Well, I think I got rid of it. It's gone. He's like, oh, okay. The next day, he's like, yeah, I haven't had it. And then, a couple weeks later, he's like, yeah, I haven't had it since you said that. I'm like, well, hopefully I got rid of it.
Yeah.
But what I remember is that, like I always think if there's something you're scared of, laugh at it.
Yeah. I'll try that.
What are you doing?
Wow. And here we have I can't even tell you how many questions I have because I just the whole thing is creepy and fascinating to me at the same time. Like the other thing I wanted to ask both of you is it's you try to track when you had these experiences and can you nail down like it happens on this dates or this lunar cycle or me I would probably get nerdy and try to figure it out more or try to figure out when it would be appearing, right?
Mm.
I never checked the lunar cycles with the night hag. I couldn't even tell you when that happened. It'd have to be in spring when I moved into that house. With the shadow people, the one house, it always seemed to happen at night, but not late, like around 10. But and everybody saw him, and we saw him, on the stairs, and it was just the weirdest thing. And
Yeah.
I felt safe in that house. I never felt anything weird in that house.
Yeah,
Sure,
There's
yeah.
one house where I
I
felt
don't
weird.
think I've ever thought about like the lunar cycles or the dates or anything because it happened that regularly. Like at times it would happen every night. Like nowadays, like in the last sort of 2 years, I've really made the conscious effort to have the lights on and have like a podcast going or like a talk back or whatever, just so I don't even focus on it, like just try to completely ignore it. Yeah.
And has that helped to just ignore
Yeah,
it
it
or act like
has.
it's not
It
there?
has helped because I'm trying to like it's not even that I'm not scared of it anymore like I used to be in my like 20s and 30s. Like definitely used to freak the hell out of me, but I think as you get older you learn to manage things better and just like like I said, I've smudged my house so many times and my other half would be like, what the fuck smells in here? And I'm just like, nothing. Like, and it stank, but like it's like I just feel like I have to cleanse the house, like but I don't think it's the house. I think it's me. Like I think it follows me. So I think it's got something to do with you know
There's
past
Renee.
lives maybe or
Hey guys.
something
I
else.
saw you
And
trying
Hi
to get in the
Renee.
other way. Renee is Jonasite's wife, comes to join us. And could you tell us about when you saw the shadow people?
Because
No?
you're going to want very more expanse of what shadow people are. The shadow people, the last time I had any real incidents was when I lived in California. I lived in Riverside, and at that point in my life, around a lot of and negative things. And me and my friend are walking the street at night, walking home, and we hear and we
Well,
see
your audio is garbled and breaking up there, Renee.
okay, what am I doing wrong?
I don't know. Just keep your finger.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Can you hear me now? Okay, my
Yes,
finger
that's
must have been
much
on the
better.
mic. Okay, so we're walking
Oh, and we lost.
side
Let's
of
try again. There we go. Okay, you're back. You bounced out for a second. I'm not sure why. Should be okay
okay,
now.
I'm not sure. Okay. So as I said, we heard something, we turn around and there's these black figures. I mean, maybe half a dozen are walking behind us. And we're like, crap. Can they not hear me?
I don't know.
No, I can hear you. We can hear you. Yeah. So you see 5 of them behind you, and is
yeah. And so we walked in the middle of the street because the street was lit, but we could see it try to reach into the light like a vapor and then pull back. And it was the creepiest thing. Also, if you guys are talking about weird things that following you, BGs, I've had guardian since I was probably a baby. My daughter,
Mm.
it's followed my daughter. And it's this figure, very large man standing right behind us. And sometimes he gets a little bit close and you're like, back up. You're
Yeah.
crowding me. Because I had to teach my daughter that when she was probably 5 or 6. Because she's like, Mom,
Yeah.
someone's watching me. Someone's
Yeah.
touching my back. I'm like, it's Casey. It's actually, I've done a lot of lucid and meditation stuff. It's actually a family member that ancestral that has followed
Yeah.
my life. And my sisters don't believe in that stuff, but they tell me about incidents. They're like, I'm like, that's him. No, it's not. I don't believe in that crap. Okay, that's fine with you. But
Yeah.
yeah, my sister saw him. She saw just a very red blob kind of thing behind her in a
Yeah.
reflection in a mirror. And I think that's him. He's a big Irish guy. And I mean, he's like the long, fuzzy hair, red beard. And she's like, no, it can't be that stuff. Because I'm a Christian, a witch.
Yeah.
And my sisters are Christian. And then the other one is atheist or whatever she can be to make everybody angry. But yeah. Oh, yeah. If she's something cool, she's that for right now.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
was
so she's
raised like
always
Church
been a
of
little.
England, like, so I wouldn't say I'm not religious, but I don't practice religion in any sense. So, you know.
Well,
I do
the other
holidays
thing
as I see religion.
the other thing I was going to ask is,
Yes.
did anybody think of doing any kind of like getting those ghost hunters with their magnetometers and their scientific instruments to try to measure these things, or to try to I don't know, gather more data when you have one of these experiences? Like, I would say if I was having these, I'd want to get like one of those night vision cameras and see if I could
Yeah.
capture anything while this thing was in the room, or I don't know, log temperatures and whatever other scientific stuff. Some of these.
I've thought about like setting up a camera just to see like if it could be captured, like but then you wonder, are they that aware of like, what you're trying to do and your intent and that kind of thing. But I would say that I don't like, even temperature changes and things like that. I don't remember noticing anything like that. It's just like an ominous kind of feeling, and you just know that he's watching. Like, it's a weird feeling. And yeah. But I've
Yeah,
never thought about getting anyone in. It's probably a good idea.
yeah. And what about you, Renee? Did you ever have any of these ghost hunter kind of people, or somebody to try to gather more information about these experiences?
Had
I think maybe.
not like a seance, but a group of us,
Oh, I see.
me and my friends, were hanging out one night and we had this thing. And we could tell it was in the room with us. And as John said, laugh at it. But I did something worse. I taunted the motherfucker. Oh, God. We were all together, and my friends were like, what is that thing in the corner? Oh, that's the third-rate plaid chicken demon that keeps following me around the goddamn place. And my friends just bust up laughing. And I'm like, I don't look at it serious. I said, because whatever it is, it's standing there. It tries to get my attention. And my friends were like, we know how evil it is. And I'm like, and
Yeah.
so I did that. My mom's house is haunted, and she has set up cameras, security cameras in the backyard. And there's white orbs flying around.
I think you're
turning shit on.
It's better again.
Okay. But yeah,
no, I'm sorry. You're.
The camera.
I keep getting Renee cutting in and out for me. I can't.
Yeah,
hear her.
I keep hearing her cutting in and out too. I don't know what that's about. Yeah,
Not
and
sure.
It is interesting. In Islam, shadow people are the jinn, and it's mentioned in the Quran several times, those who dwell in the shadows. But they're generally, they're not human, they're not God, they're somewhere in between, which is interesting. That, and then the Bible also mentions shadow people or those that dwell in the shadows as well. But most Catholics would say that that's a reference to demons or dark spirits, unclean spirits. Did you guys get a sense that these things were evil?
With me, a couple times, yeah. Um, but not always. I mean, like the one that follows me around the house, the ghost at my mom's house, no problem with them at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't say mine's like a ghost. Mine gives a sense of, you have a sense of fear. Evil, possibly, yes, but it's really funny because my family, like, because I'm part Maori, and on my dad's side, there's a an old family thing saying that there's a Maori curse on the family because of an interracial relationship, and back in the day, and someone put a curse on the family. And I wonder if it's related to that sometimes, because I do have a lot of bad luck. I will admit that. But I often wonder if there's a relation, like Renee was saying, like ancestral. Like, I wonder if there's something, and it's just picked me up as like one of the more sensitive in the family, and like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but yeah. I often think about it.
Wow. And how often do each of you, like Fiji's, how often are you seeing this thing?
Like I said, in my 20s and 30s, I would pretty much see it every night. Like, since my partner's passed away, and my mum passed away in 2015, and I had a real affinity of not dealing with the dark. Like, the dark just scared the absolute shit out of me, because it was almost like someone was going to jump out, and it was like waiting to pounce kind of thing. So probably since 2015 it's dissipated, because I've had to sleep with like salt lamps on, and like not have a shadow, not create a space where there is a shadow that can be seen. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense. So it's
So
dissipated a
is it
little
that
bit
easy
as
to
I've
get
got
rid of it,
older.
is to just use night lights and they go
Well,
away?
that's what I've been doing, and obviously not trying to pay attention to the door, like, because that's my bigger issue, is that if I do look at the door, the chances are he's there, and I try not to. Yeah.
So, Renee, how often have you seen these things? Has this been
Um,
just a few times in your life, or like BG's, has it been recurrent throughout your life?
different situations. I mean, when I was a child, there was something that was visiting. We're not sure if it was aliens, ghosts, or shadow people, but it's actually not a shadow people, because we actually saw a person. It was a woman with red hair, dressed in black, with men next to her. And actually, all three of me, my sister, and so the three of us have all seen it at different points. And it just looks at us and go back to sleep. It's okay. We're here to help.
Mm.
And my sister was really sick.
How are you supposed to go back to sleep after seeing that?
I know, but that's the weird thing. But it actually, for some reason or another, it puts us to sleep, because we do go back to sleep and we wake up going, crap, what the hell? And I've
Seems
talked to my
pretty
sisters
creepy.
about it recently, and they're like, yeah. And none of us had talked about it when we were kids or younger. And it was like, you saw it too? And it was all in the same house. And I had sleep paralysis situation when I was pregnant with my daughter, and had a lot of issues. And that time I'm like, one of the times it was okay, but another time it felt like something was moving me. And I'm like, in God's name, be gone. I'm like praying. I'm like, leave me alone. But I could hear things moving around me, and I couldn't wake up. And it scared the shit out of me. That's only happened a couple times, but a lot of the stuff has mellowed as I got older and I've learned how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And also, as BG said, you said your partner helped with that. Me and John been together forever, and I haven't had as much problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you even married him on purpose, right?
Yeah.
I've also been,
Totally on purpose. You weren't like knocked up or something. You did that
No.
on purpose.
Yep.
Holy
On
jeez.
purpose. My
I
daughter
always
actually.
like. My wife hates that I say this, but I always like to joke that in my family, I started a new tradition, a whole new tradition in my family, and that is I married the girl first, and then a year later I knocked her up. Normally goes the other way in my family. Yeah, it's backward in my family. That is backwards. Yep.
Yeah. But
Especially
then,
being Catholic. If you knock somebody up and you're Catholic, everybody wants you to get married, whether
yeah,
that's a
you
good
have
idea
to.
or whether that's a good idea or not. You're like, I know guys that had one night stands and they were 16 and knocked some girl up, and then their parents made them get married at 16, and of course that none of those marriages went well.
No, that doesn't work well. But as you said, you're Catholic or Christian,
Well,
Stephen?
I'm Christian now. I say I'm a recovering Catholic, but I did the whole 12 years of Catholic school, and
Oh, wow.
all boys in high school. That was fun. All boys high school.
You guys had trouble.
Yeah,
My
and they try to
mom.
recruit me to become a priest. They send you like now thinking about this sounds real scary, but they send you for like weekends at the seminary to hang out with the priests, right? That doesn't sound shady at all. And nothing happened to me, but I've heard some stories. Yeah, but they try to recruit you, become a priest. It's great. After 4 years of all boys Catholic school, they expect me to take a vow of celibacy. So I don't think so. It just did not
No.
work out for me. And I
I'm
am real. Go
sorry,
ahead,
I'm
BG.
just reading the comments, and like Brad's saying, I just want someone to give us some proof. And it's like, that's the issue, man. Like, you can't get the proof. That's the hard part.
Yeah,
Like,
this
how
is one
can
of the things about
how can I
experiencers.
prove when I come home and my paintings are turned upside down and they're on hooks, and you they physically cannot turn upside down, but they are. I haven't been home. No one's been in my house. How do I prove that? Like, how do I prove that I see this person? Because I physically see this person at my door, but I can't, like if I go to take a photo, it's not going to be there. It doesn't, you can't capture it. It's hard to explain if you don't experience it, and you're not an experiencer as far as that's concerned. I can't give
Yeah, and just
people
to
the
play the
proof,
devil's advocate,
and
don't you
it's
think?
hard because like I'm experienced it. I'm telling you, but like you've got to take it on face value, and I get that, I'm not Corey Good and I'm not David Wilcock, and I'm not trying to sell shit to anybody. You know what I mean? But I'm just telling you, this is my experience. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say, some people may wonder if these things are unable to be photographed or videotaped, would that mean that these experiences are taking place in your own mind and not in the physical presence or world, right?
Yeah, but like I'm physically awake and I'm physically like lucid. I'm not, like I consider myself to be a pretty centered person. And like I said to you, like the other things that have happened, like I've had CDs thrown at me. I've had things thrown at my mirrors, and like there's something, I don't know. I don't know if it's an attachment or if it's I just don't know. But someone was telling me to get some dowsing rods and see if there's any water running under my house, because apparently that's got something to do with it. And I
Or
was just
check
like,
out
oh
there's
my
any
God.
dead people. BGs,
No.
you could have dead people under your
Well,
house causing all this.
we're on what they call the Ghana land, which is an Aboriginal, like we're on the Adelaide Plains and hills here. So this is definitely Aboriginal land for sure. So
Could be ancient spirits then in that
yeah,
case.
definitely.
Those
Yeah.
people go back to the Stone Age.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and love your accent too. absolutely
thinking you
love
gotta
that.
get the camera when you see him and start saying, "Now pout for me. Now act sexy. Now you're a cat. Growl, growl."
Yeah.
Have fun with it. If you ever see it again, try to just laugh at it, have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know.
I will try that because, you know,
And other
ignoring it
people in the
doesn't
live
work.
chat have mentioned sigils under you,
Yeah.
putting a protective
Single
sigil
group,
under
yeah.
your bed.
Yeah. I
Pentagram is a protection
actually had
symbol.
like a beautiful dream catcher I bought from like a Native American Lakota woman, and I had that in my other bedroom, so I might actually move that into my main bedroom and just use that.
Yeah, and I
Mm.
guess other people have mentioned that. I mentioned priests or ministers. Other people in the live chat mentioned calling the name of Jesus. But I think
Yeah.
that you would have to believe in Jesus. Like you'd have to
Yeah.
be a
It works for
Christian
me.
for that to work,
I've,
right? You'd have to have the faith in it.
I've gotten scared of just being scared, and I have called out Thor's name because Thor's the protector of mankind, and
Yeah.
I felt better. And when you think, for me, the gods are all symbolism. So Thor to me translates to the archangel Michael in Christianity. They both
Yes.
have
That's
the
interesting.
same. Well, they're both supposed to be protectors of mankind. So one has wings and a sword, and the other one's a Viking dude with a giant hammer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how you.
Yeah, I always
It's
thought
how
that
you
was a
see it.
weird weapon. That's just a weird weapon to have. Like I'm just going to hit people with this big ass hammer, right?
Well, have you been hit with a hammer?
No, no.
Well, when I
Only
see
my
you, we'll
thumbs.
talk
I've
about it.
hit my thumb with
Only
a
my
hammer.
own thumbs. Yeah. I'm so happy because at the cabin I learned how to use an air compressor and nail guns and stuff. So
Okay.
I will never swing a hammer again. It's so much better having an air compressor and nail guns. But you got to be
Well,
careful that you don't,
Mornir is you know, he throws it, it comes back.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting. And it's got lightning in it and stuff too,
yeah,
right?
yeah, he can call lightning with it. You know,
Yeah, Jonas said there was
it-
some movie, I can't remember the name of it, but I watched it on either Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, and it was about some descendant of Thor, and then they found Thor's hammer at the end.
oh, I know they
You
did.
know what?
There's a TV series on Netflix about that. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe Valhalla or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So if
Arn.
anybody in the live chat has any questions for our guests about Shadow People or anything else, please put them in all caps. We'll give some attention to the live chat and maybe call this one a quick one today. I still got 6 boards I can nail up. I don't laugh. I got to do
The
this a
kitchen's
little.
looking good,
Oh,
Stephen. It's looking
Yeah,
one
nice.
I
thing I
got to do
wanted to
this.
say.
I can't wait. I can't wait to finish this for my wife because she's right. She wanted me to finish the kitchen before I started this extra room, but I thought we needed the room more than we needed finished ceilings in a kitchen. But I hate looking at that like unfinished ceiling, so but I have to do this a little bit at a time because these boards are so expensive now. It's like $12 for one board.
Wow.
It's this tongue and groove white pine. It's so expensive, so I'll just buy 20 or 25 boards a week until a couple weeks it'll be done. Can only nail so many up at once, right? Jolly
Well,
Bridgeburner says just a quickie today, guys. Yeah, quickies are never good.
they are what they are.
Yeah, BG's. I asked my wife last week. I said, "Hey, honey, do you want to have a quickie?" And you know what she said? She said, "As opposed to what?"
Oh,
Boom, boom.
kids, that's the problem. When they're young, you don't get private time. But no, as I was saying, my mom grew up and she wasn't ever part of a church because of all the strange kind of clique crap. So every Sunday, my mom would sit me and my sisters down and we would discuss the Bible and read. One morning we were talking about some interesting stuff and I can't really remember what it was, but all of a sudden the whole window is blocked out by this black thing shadow, and it was 2 feet by 3 feet window, completely covered with this black thing. My mom reaches the window, it's gone, and it's moved across another window. So it literally moved around our house.
That's
And she's like,
creepy.
yeah, and that was really creepy. My sisters are like, they're like, oh, that didn't really happen. I'm like, we saw it happen, guys. We were all three there
The
with mom.
Nile, the river in Egypt.
Yes. And my other friend, you think someone said about how do you prove it? Usually you have to experience it. With me, I had a friend with me the time I saw him in Riverside. The group of people that I had in the room with the demon thing, and Casey has always followed me and followed my daughter. My son doesn't really feel him as much. I think he's more of a guardian for women. Because
So Sebastian should feel him.
very funny. But yeah,
He's not here.
Yes, I know. Sebastian can't hear you.
That's funny because I've heard a lot of people talk about having some kind of guardian spirit that is an ancestor of theirs or something like that. Maybe that's a pretty common thing as
just
well.
ancestor worship. When you think about it, paganism's ancestor worship. You're worshiping your ancestors.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, any more questions for any of our panel guests tonight? Please do put them in all caps. Otherwise, I guess we can wrap things up here because I'm not sure what else to ask except
I was like,
start
I don't know
trying
how
to
long
videotape that stuff and we'll put it on here. Or
it's hard to sort
but
of like talk because there is no proof as such, and it's only the experience that you can share. And but like I'm sure we're not alone. I'm sure there's heaps of people that sort of have this type of thing happen. It's just you wonder, is it your imagination? Is it your, is it a figment that you're making up, or
or are you projecting the shadow
am I
person?
projecting it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can think about to try and explain it away. And
a lot of people think that poltergeist phenomenon is actually someone in the household that is sort of manifesting their psychic abilities, and they're out of control and they haven't really figured out how to control them. So all this stuff like moving chairs and banging and things flying across the room could be projected by someone in the house. So it's not necessarily a ghost. It's more like a a psychic projection that they're creating.
Shit going on. I didn't really
have
that
you might be like
there,
that Dark Phoenix. Oh no. Now, what about you, Jonaside? When you saw these things, I don't understand. You were just kind of nonchalant about it. Like, well, they didn't strike me as evil, so we just kind of, seeing them going up steps.
That's the vibe I got, though. I just saw, to me, with the shadow people, they were traveling to me. They were just coming through. It wasn't like they were haunting us. They weren't. Maybe they're just watching us. I don't know. I didn't get a bad feeling from them. Some of my roommates were freaked out by it, but I wasn't, and I kind of calmed them down. I'm like, I'm not freaked out. I've always been into the occult and into magic and stuff. And, I've read tons of stuff, and I'm like, it's just not the thing that scares me. When I had the night hag experience, that freaked me out. That scared me because I didn't know what was going on at first. It felt to me like something was feeding off my energy. I'm not food. You're not going to feed off me. So I had to figure something out, and I don't know what I did, but it worked, And like I tell people, I've set up wards around my house. I use just a pentagram. I put rubber bands on it. When a rubber band breaks, I replace it, and I just put a little energy into it. And it seems to work.
My sister's usually
here. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever we go visit her sisters,
Brad Gray is here. Brad Gray is here complaining in the live chat. If someone you like tells a story about shadow people, you listen. But if CG, I guess he's saying Corey Good, said the same story, you would call BS.
Absolutely.
None of these people.
I agree.
None of these people here are trying to sell you anything, Brad Gray. They're just sharing their experience. So to me, there's a big difference between. No. Yeah.
Oh man, did you check your PayPal yet?
No, I did not actually. We can do that though. But listen, I'm sorry, Brad Gray. This is experiencers, much like the
Yeah, I
alien
can't prove
abduction
what I've
people.
seen. I
They don't.
can't. It is what it is. This is
Yeah.
my experience. I'm just sharing my experience. Is it bullshit? I don't think so. But you can think that. That's fine. Doesn't bother me
And,
either way.
and honestly, I think there's a big difference between seeing a dark, shadowy spirit or telling everybody that you time traveled.
I saw 8-foot alien on my drop ceiling.
Yeah, you fought reptilian aliens in space, but you can't handle Twitter comments.
What's he doing to me on Twitter?
Yeah, no, I just think there's a big difference between Corey Good for 5 years telling all these fantastical stories and somebody telling to me what appears to be a much more genuine and personal experience. That maybe they can't prove it, but they're telling us about the experience, and a lot like alien abduction phenomenon, the experience is what they have.
I always look to where if someone's trying to make money off something.
Yeah,
If
and Lee
Corey
Veltman
Good
says
come out
20 and
just
back
said I
and
had
spear
20 and
being.
back,
Yeah.
well, Corey said he just had the 20 and back. Oh, I had 20 and back, and I did this, and then he disappeared. He might actually, people might go, well, maybe he was telling the truth, but he kept piling on and on.
No,
and on.
then he needed more material, so then he did another 20 and back and remembered everything that happened, and then he did another 20 and back. So he's been battling aliens in space for 60 years, according to him.
And he's Enoch, and he's an
he
ambassador.
became Enoch too. Yeah,
the hollow Earth, but not the flat hollow Earth, just the regular hollow Earth.
Yeah, I just think there's a massive difference between people telling an experience about seeing a dark, shadowy spirit and somebody going that far with the bullshit. It's just, and always profit. There's always you gotta have some money. There's always got to be a money aspect to that guy.
And I think Adam
and
Adam Mike's got a really good comment there saying, and that's why we don't speak of these things, because like you get judged and you just sort of
well, I'd like to think that this is
nothing that I've ever shared before. So, when you were talking about it, has anyone had any experience? I'm like, yeah, I have. But like, it's not.
Yeah,
like
and I'm glad that you came on and told. I'm glad that you came on and told.
It's not like I go around telling everyone about it because they think I'm fucking nuts. That's
well, I already thought that before this, so
yeah, and the whole thing is too is these experiences are very personal, and it's not like you're out there hitting the conference circuit trying to get paid. It's just apples and oranges. And by the way, I'm probably going to be covering it, but I just did a quick look in on Mr. Good, and I found out that there's this thing called Starseed Adventures, and the whole gang is all back together, but they cut out Corey Good. And then I checked in with Edge of Wonder, and they're making a new docu-series drama, and all the gang is there except for Corey Good. They've got Wilcock, they've got Jordan Sather, all of the, Eisenhower, all of the usual people that would all grift.
Well, they don't want to get sued.
Good.
They're probably going to get sued. Too. You didn't include me. I'm going to sue you now.
Yeah.
So he's getting cut out of everything lately. He's going to run his own thing though, so we'll see how that goes. But lately, judging by his lack of Twitter, it's almost like somebody shut off the bots, because his Twitter engagement is going down to nothing in the past few weeks, and that's interesting. Why did he used to get
probably 40 run comments out of money?
Why did he used to get 50 comments per tweet, and now he's getting 1 or 2, and it's from haters sometimes, which is funny.
I can't see David Wilcock's tweets because he blocked me because he doesn't want to grow a mustache, which is what he's probably been doing this entire time.
For 2 months, yeah.
It's probably taken him 50 years.
Oh, no, he's having a contest now, and whoever comes up with the most ridiculous explanation for where he's been.
Win. I'd put in, you're growing a mustache. Someone should just say that.
I would put in, he's looking for a box of dildos.
That's what I was going to put in.
Well, 2 months. Maybe he found a box of dildos and he was trying them out.
Yeah,
maybe he's found the box and he's enjoyed it too much.
Yeah, he's just too embarrassed.
I think I heard, then he's kind of ridiculous too, because I think I heard C.W. Channer talking earlier. I was listening while I was working, And like the whole ridiculousness of like, oh, I needed to take some time off for self-care. No, you asshole. You've been talking about this letter of the alphabet and Trump bullshit for 4 years. And now it's pretty clear that that shit was all fake. And now you got to go away for a little while
But he
and
takes
hope
time
everybody
off, like,
forgets.
every
Yeah.
6 months. He's like, "Oh, I had to take some time off." You guys just don't understand how stressful this is. You know, I got to take
Yeah.
time off. And then 6 months there, he takes the time. He goes to what? That place in Canada, Bath Band. I forget what it's called up in Canada. He heads to all the time. You know.
He just needs to write
Yeah,
more
it's just
stories.
Yeah.
he needs to write more bullshit down. That's
We've
what
been
it's really
probably
hard coming up
watching
with
all
these
your
bullshit
streams,
stories.
C-Dubs, Paranormal, everyone's streams so we can steal more stuff from them.
Well,
That's
Brad,
what he's gonna
I just
come back.
want to.
He's gonna
Can
have
I
that
just address
mustache.
something quickly in the chat? I'm not offended in any way at all, Brad. Like I'm a skeptic. I'm as skeptic as all hell. Like please don't think I'm upset by that. No, I think it's
He just
healthy
asked
to
a question.
question. I think
No,
it's
yeah,
very
Brad Gray
healthy
is
to
a friend of
question.
the show as well, as just
Yeah.
are these guests of mine. So
Brandon's
I
got
didn't
me
think that you were being nasty. I think
No,
you were just
not at
like
all.
kind of.
Not at all.
And it does deserve some explanation, right? It
course
does
it
make
does,
sense. Like,
yeah.
why am I so harsh on all these grifters and I'm okay with this situation? It's because these people are not selling you anything. They're sharing their experience. And I've been looking into these shadow people and wanted to hear about it. So instead of doing it privately, we just did it on the show.
I'll start a GoFundMe for a comic book, based on stuff that
Oh, and
Oh
by
my
the way,
God.
I did check the PayPal, and a kind thank you to Jonaside for sending me $5 while he's a guest on my show. That's a nice guy.
Yeah,
I should be
he's a
paying
good
him
man.
a kind and generous PayPal donation, and you too can send me some cash out there in YouTube land. There's PayPal and Patreon donate links in the About section of our channel. And I forgot, did I look to see, what did you want to shout out? You could shout it out yourself there, Jonaside.
Nothing. I just want to support the show, help you get some wood.
Yeah, I do. I asked my wife. I definitely need some wood.
I would
Or she
also
does.
like to. I would also just like to shout out. I'm really sorry. There's a couple of deaths that have just happened. Prince Philip. For anyone who's a royalist, I think that's really sad. But also, I'd also like to mention DMX because, like, he formed my child, like my 10 years. Rough Rider,
I'm the same
like
age as
totally
DMX.
into the Def Jam stuff. Like, so it's so sad that we just lost a good rapper there too. So
Yeah, and I was never a rap fan, but I had a roommate named Tyrone, and Tyrone Blast was huge on DMX right at the first album. Like, and he would blast that album. And eventually I did learn to like it because I hear, he used a lot of stuff that was religious. He used a lot of like choirs in the background and cellos and violins, and he really was innovative in changing it from just being like beats and stupid synth noises to being like more orchestral. Yeah, I'm sad that he's gone too. He's one of those guys that you didn't appreciate him, and now he's gone, and you go, I should have appreciated him a little better. God bless him and his family.
Absolutely.
And all his friends and fans that will certainly miss him. And I'm selfish, and every time a songwriter or rapper dies, I always think, how many more amazing albums did that guy have in him that are going to be lost to history now? We'll never hear them. That's sad.
It is
I
sad.
hope he rests well in peace, DMX. And as far as the Prince, I don't understand
I know no one gives a fuck, but it's
I don't understand. The guy was like
acknowledge
98 too, wasn't he?
99. He was like 2 months away from turning
Shit, he almost
100.
made it. Yo, if I live to 99 and then I croak, I'll be pissed off. Like, I almost made it to 100.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made it to 50.
Yeah.
I'm good. Everything else is cake.
Yeah, it's a shame but that guy lived a very privileged and
Daniel's
wonderful,
in the chat
wealthy
now.
life. Oh, the context. Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, he's in there. All right.
Somebody needs to buy Daniel a watch.
I know.
He's in Australia with Bee Gees in that fake country. That's why they can't tell time,
Yeah.
because they live in a fake country.
I
Not
thought you were
real.
time.
Australia's
Come
not
on.
real.
No, New Zealand is though. That's what's funny. New Zealand's real, but Australia's
I
not.
can't believe that we have all these Australian friends of the show, and nobody has sent me any of those like 5-pound shrimps yet, because I would like that. If PGs, if I ever get to Australia, that's the first thing I'm
Can
doing.
we
That's my
just
favorite
can I just
food.
correct you? They're not called shrimps. They're called prawns.
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 Okay.
We do not call them shrimps.
Well, we do in the United
What do you
States.
call
No.
it?
Because we have
maybe
small
that's
ones,
why
I
we're in
guess.
the future. They're called prawns.
Okay, prawns. I'd look that up.
Those
No, but why do they have that
commercial?
They had that commercial, like, I'll throw another shrimp on the barbie for you.
Because they
Like-
Americanized it for you idiots.
You know what's funny, BGs? There's a video of Australian people eating Outback. Or what is it? What is that steakhouse?
Outback.
Genocide.
Outback Steakhouse. Yeah, we took
Yeah,
my
Outback
Australian friend.
Steakhouse. That's supposed to be Australian food, and they fed it to Australian people, and they're like, "What the fuck is this, man?
I have a
Fucking
friend. that was
blooming
from
onion. We
Australia.
ain't got this shit here in Australia. What the fuck is these Americans thinking?"
Yeah, I
Pretty
have a friend
funny.
that's from Australia, and we took him to Outback, and he was just like,
This is not fucking
He goes,
Australian
I
food.
like the blooming onion. He goes, but I've never had one down there before, in Austria home, and I'm like, all right. Yeah, he was, that was hilarious.
Lee Veltman says, "Grab me a Foster's and put another shrimp on the barbecue." All right, that's
Dude,
about the
Foster's
only thing.
sucks.
The only
Foster's
thing
is
good
one of
that
the
comes
worst
out of
beers.
Australia is those huge shrimp and Foster's beer. I used to
Yeah,
get
but
those
Foster's
in
beer
big cans.
sucks. Man. Oh, I hate
No, it's
Foster's.
pretty.
Foster's beer. Nobody drinks Foster's beer in Australia. Never have. Not even in the 80s.
See, that's more propaganda
Wait,
from your
I
fake
remember
country.
watching Australian rules football and seeing Foster's advertisements in the back on billboards all the time.
That doesn't mean that we were drinking it because it tastes like
I'm
piss.
just saying, I remember seeing that.
It's not that bad compared to American beer. Have you had American beer, BGs?
No,
Like,
I don't. Well, not
you ever
in-
had like a Budweiser or like a Miller beer?
No.
That's
PBR,
Coors
Rainier's
Light.
good. Rainier's good.
We drink.
PBR's good.
I know a lot of
water.
Australians will drink Coopers. That's a South Australian company, which is like quite
I've had it.
renowned in Australia.
Quite.
That's one of the good ones. And then we've got a lot of boutique, like what do you call them?
We call them microbrews up here.
Breweries, like microbreweries. Yeah, we've got a lot of them now. So yeah, they do make some good beers.
Well, sure they do. Foster's isn't one of them.
Someday, BGs, I'm going to visit your fake country and I'll try that beer.
You're more than welcome to stay at my house. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm sure my wife would love that. Like, I'll just go to Australia and hang out with a
your
girl
wife
from
can
my
come
show.
too.
How about my kids? That'd be awesome.
they can
I hope
come.
you have like a lot of like. I hope you don't have a lot of things they could break, because
I don't.
my kids
I'm
are
not
like a wrecking crew.
I have no knickknacks, so we're all good.
Well, listen, I want to thank each of you and your wife there, Renee, Miss Genocide, for taking part in our panel discussion on the mysterious world of the shadow people. I'm going to toss you guys out, and then we're going to wrap things up here. But thanks,
All right.
BGs, and thanks,
All right,
Genocide, and Renee, my special guests.
Thanks for
Everybody in
listening,
the
guys.
chat.
Enjoy.
You guys have a great night. I'm
See
going to
ya.
throw you out of here and do a quick wrap up. Thank you. And thank you, Genocide. Okay. Brad Gray. Yeah, thanks. So, listen, I'm going to look deeper into this shadow people phenomenon. I've been hearing from several people that have experienced this thing, and it has only made me more curious. And when I say more curious, I'm curious about many things, like who or what are they? What is their intentions in appearing to people? What is their purpose? Are they, as some people believe, some form of psychic vampire that feed off fear and people's anxiety and negative emotions? Are they demons, which would be the Christian interpretation of these type of phenomenon? Or are they something else? And most specifically, I want to know, what do they want? Why are they appearing to people all over the world? It's an interesting phenomenon, and we will continue to cover it here. So, friends, until next time, I want to thank each and every one of you for being in the audience, and I especially want to thank, because I always like when there's an audience, and we had a great one tonight. Thank you for being a part of it. I also want to be sure to thank our special guests tonight, friends of the show, BGs, Renee, and Jonaside. 1 second. So until we meet again, friends, until next time, my name is Stephen Campion, broadcasting live from the Apocalypse Cabin. Until next time, friends, good night and God bless all of you.